Thank you for coming in. It's great to be looking forward to the camp again so soon. So this is Miss Wanda, who many of you will have met over previous years, who's our wonderful camp organizer from A-Team Adventures. So Wanda's got a little presentation she's going to show you, and then we'll have a bit of a Q&A at the end for anything that you'd like to ask about the camp experience. So over to you, Wanda.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. So parents, welcome to IMS. How many of you have children in grade 4? Okay, almost all of it. Oh, grade 5? No. Grade 6? Okay, fantastic. Okay, so it's all the grade 4s who are the really nervous ones. And yesterday it was all the grade 1s, right? All their parents are like, I don't know, it's the first trip my kid's going to. So for the grade 4s, this will be quite an adventure for them because they're actually spending it overnight and they're going to be dorming, and I'm going to talk you guys through a little bit of that. But in IMS, sometimes we return to the same spot. So we were at the Wang Yi Chao area maybe last year, but it's progressive. All the activities that they do are slightly different in year 4 than in year 5, and then in year 6 they actually do a bigger challenge. All right, so like the year 1s and the year 2s and the year 3s who actually return to Chernchow for the water safety activity, every year they actually learn different things until when they get to grade 3, it's a little more life-saving skills and things like that. So just to let you know that the progression is actually built into the different year levels. So this is going to take place in the Sai Kung area, actually. All right, so how many of you have been to the Sai Kung area? Yay, most of you. All right, it's on a private island, so actually we rented the entire island. So I'll take you guys through that. Yep. So the 3-day adventure is really about students, participating and working together in a team, and then it's about them to kind of learn about different things in nature and to be really comfortable in nature as well. Now, with this, I have to say, last year they actually were able to camp out. They actually did sleep in tents, but because of the typhoon, that the Mongkut typhoon came, and there's a section of the camp that is destroyed, and the camping area is one of them. So it's unfortunate that the kids will not be able to camp. And I told Bill that we're keeping a really close contact with the camp. Should that place be able to, we can bring the tents back, then definitely we're going to give the children a camping experience. So it's, based on a small island about 20 minutes from Sai Kung. So I'll show you where that is. So there is Sai Kung right there. All right. And then we go all the way to that little island called Wang Yi Chao by boat. And this PowerPoint, I'm going to leave it with Bill, and he's just going to upload that. So all this information is going to be online accessible. So it's on that island. And then previous years, we actually did go to Sharp Island as well. But because, again, with the typhoon, Sharp Island, all of the pier and all of the bathroom area and all of the coral reef has been destroyed. So it's hopefully next year the government would have rebuilt the pier and so forth, and we can take the kids back there, because that actually is this little area here in Hong Kong is actually got one of the cleanest waters, because actually the water comes straight from the Pacific, and it's one of their very few marine sanctuaries off of Sharp Island. But Wang Yi Chao also has quite a lot of corals and stuff too, so the kids are going to be able to actually see some of that. So here's the island. As you can see, this is where we're going to ferry in. This is the hostel, the dorms all over here. And this is our canteen and eating area. And there's a court. And if we camp, the camping area is actually over here. All right. And this section is actually quite destroyed from the typhoon, unfortunately. So we're not camping. And here's where we do our fire, and we teach the kids how to do shelter building. And then in this area as well, we do all the mangroves out right here and all the coast steering right around the island. So we have a lot, the complete island is for IMS that year, so we're there actually alone. And it's actually a very, very safe island, because in order to get there, you've got to actually take a ferry. So the kids are going to actually rotate through, actually it's not the camping part, that was my mistake. Rotate through, is this the old slide? Jackie, is this the old slide? I think this is the old one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I took that photo out. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna, yep. Oops. So some technical difficulties. So they will be staying in dorms of 10, and inside the dormitories there are 2 showers, 2 toilets separate. All right, and then the girls' dorm, they've got their own dorm. The boys and the teachers are like sort of jammed between that and their dormitory, and so is our staff. All right, so. And then they eat in the canteen. And in previous years, we actually did get the kids to cook. Unfortunately, this year, because of the camping area has been flooded and there's no electricity or water in that area, we won't be able to do that. But the kids are still going to make their own lunches, and they're going to actually, they started that in primary as well. We kind of got them to learn how to make wraps, but this time they're going to be serving each other. And they're going to help make sandwiches for each other as well. Yep. Okay, let's see if it's the same one. Oh, it is. So I took all of that out. I don't. Okay, so the kids are actually going to go through 10 activities, and they rotate through that. And I'll take parents through those 10 activities. So unfortunately, because I did correct this yesterday, but the camping one is, all right, so they actually go through this, the sea kayaking. Please ignore the camping and the campcraft, but they actually do the sea kayaking, the basic map reading and orienteering, the hiking and the scavenger hunt. They also do the co-steering, and these are actually the most exciting activities. And what the co-steering is, for those parents who don't know, is that they would give the kids helmets, and as you can see, they're actually in protective wetsuits, and then they have gloves, and we take them through the rocks, and where there are some barnacles and things like that, so that's why we give them the protective wear, and they kind of learn about the intertidal zones and the rocky areas, and kind of lift up rocks, and then they kind of climb on top of the bigger rocks, and they're little areas where they can actually jump into the ocean as well. So they do a bit of swimming, they do a little of bouldering, they do a little bit of climbing, and then of course they study the rock pools and the life and the habitats there. Some of the beach activities include team building activities and games, but they also do a mangrove studies. So we actually take the kids to one of the more unique mangroves in the Wang Yichao area, and they will actually be given an ID sheet and a specimen box and a magnifying glass. So they actually go out into the mangrove, they pick little things, and then we try to identify those creatures and what they are and how they adapt to living in the mangroves and what the mangrove is for as well. So, and at night, I think we only did this one year. The first year was stargazing because it was the only day that it was without clouds. So some of these activities, I have to say, it's put on, but it doesn't mean that we can actually do every single one. But also includes the environmental education, because we got the kids to actually clean up where the boats came in, just a little tiny beach area, no bigger than this. And they did a bit of cleaning as well. They actually do their own composting, like all the food that they don't finish on their tables, they actually bring out, and we actually show them the compost machine and where the food goes into as well. So it's really deeply connected to what they do at the school, and that makes us actually as an organization a little bit different, because we've been working with IMS now for about 5 years, and with Bill as well, and we've been sort of really progressing into the activities that they do at the school and to continue that outside of the school. They also will build a campfire and learning about, how a fire is created, and they roast a little marshmallow and they go and find twigs and they do all of that. Okay, so this is the learning part in the sea. So they will be snorkeling as well. So the kids are actually going to be given glasses and snorkels, and they do go down and they do see bits of reef. Now the reef, unfortunately, in Hong Kong is not really colorful. So it's not like, right, as it is in the Caribbean. But if you can just Google this, we have actually more varieties of coral in Hong Kong than there are in the Caribbeans, except that it's all kind of gray and it's kind of dark, and so they go in there and they're like, oh, that's it. But we really try to drill that, and they do see a few clownfish and a few zebrafish and things like that, but it isn't colorful, but they do get to go and see that in that little bit of diving. And then they do the exploration of nature as well, because the whole island, it's all full of trees. They do quite a lot of woodland walk. The mangroves, the mud skippers, and the crabs, that's actually a photo taken from there. I mean, they're just everywhere. It's teeming with life in that area. And kids just pick that up and, they hold on to it, and we talk about it as well. So a little bit, somehow this slide, I think I would have to hold this slide and actually give Bill the correct one. A little thing about our instructors, because with the parents who are in the grade 4, 5, and 6, but I usually do a whole instructor introduction with the lower primaries. And most of our instructors come from abroad. And the reason is that in Hong Kong, we don't have a outdoor education degree. So Hong Kong U or Chinese U doesn't offer this degree. So, only places like Canada and US and New Zealand have this as a university major. And since that's the case, then our only way to get staffing is actually to hire them from abroad, most of them at least. There are a few of our staff that are outward bound trained, and they're local staff, but that's actually very, very difficult to come by. So it's quite a bit of a United Nations with our staffing, and each one of us is first aid or wilderness first aid certified, as well as with the swimming activities. Ivan, who's leading it, is actually a scuba diving instructor, so he's going to be doing most of our snorkeling activities. A little bit about the ratio of staff to students. This does not include IMS parents. This is just our organization. So for all of the water activities, it's a 1-to-6 ratio. So one of our instructors with 6 of the IMS students. Now, Bill and a few of the other, like Fraser and Kyle, they're actually in the water with the kids all the time. And then we've got a few teachers who actually enjoy the water. So they're going to be in the water as well. So the ratio really is almost like a 1-to-4, 1-to-3, depending on the activity, really, for the water activities. And every child is in a PFD or a life jacket. So with the other ones, like the mangrove and the habitat and the shelter building, that would be the 1-to-12 ratio with our staff, and then of course with the teachers assisting as well. So emergency cases, because it's on an island, we have a safety boat on standby the entire time. All right, the safety boat is actually parked outside the pier. So for any cases emergency, we can take the kids right to, depending, 15 minutes from the Chung Kwan O Hospital. But the speedboat from Mong Yi Chau to Sai Kung is about 10 minutes on a speedboat. And then if it's really, really serious, it's 7 minutes from Sai Kung to the hospital from the pier right there. Yeah. So here's the packing list, but you're going to be given one as well, so there's no need to, and I think Bill might want to make 1 or 2 changes, but you've got a notebook and pencil, a water bottle, your backpack, a head torch, because they're going to actually be doing some night activity. They're going to be going out and looking for some bugs, and they're going to actually be looking for hearing animal sounds, or actually there are animal tracks in that little area, like little ones, and so they're going to need a little head torch. Sunglasses, some kids need it. If you do, can you please bring buy them with a tie, because as soon as they go into the water and they get excited, they jump in, and there goes their glasses. And so we have a few extras, but then of course when we give it to the kids, we never get it back. So it's really important that they have the ties with the sunglasses. Healthy snacks, if you're going to send some snacks with your kids. The truth is you really almost don't need to, because in the morning, and I'll go through the menu with you, in the morning they've got an energy bar. We're a nut-free organization, so nothing that we serve has nuts in it, but they have an energy bar, and then they've got fruit in the afternoon, or vice versa, as a snack. And I'll show you the schedule where the snacks come in. So t-shirt, large plastic bag to put all of their wet clothes in, and then the shorts as well. And then they've got a small plastic bag to put their wet shoes in. an old pair of runners and or water shoes. Actually, they need to bring a pair of shoes. So they'll be wearing an old pair of runners, but the other one is that they need a pair of shoes that they can get wet when they're doing their water activities, because kids love to kick rocks when they're on the beach. Yeah, and they love, when we're doing the co-steering and the intertidal zone activity, there's going to be barnacles. So it's really important that their toes are covered. So I'll show you a picture of what that looks like. Of course, the swimsuit, the hat, the towel, socks, underwear for the days, their toothbrush, insect repellent, sunblock, chapstick, extra reading glasses if they need to, personal medication if that would be given to the teacher, and there's a fridge in the teacher's room to put any of the medications or anything like that in. The pajamas and sleep, actually they don't need the sleeping bag because they will not be camping, but some of the grade 2s might have a sleeping bag. They are welcome to bring that because then they can just tuck into their sleeping bags in the dorm. So this is the water shoe, and this is what they look like. Now, I know Decathlon sells them for under 50 Hong Kong, or 57, I was told now. But, and they've got a little button on the back because they're stretchy, so that it should fit them for 2 to 3 years, no problem at all. But you actually don't need them. I actually wore these today to show you, I think in Chinese, these are called bak fan yu, right? And you can just get these at a simple market place, as long as their toes are covered, or an old pair of running shoes. What I stress is not to give the kids an old pair of dress shoes, because dress shoes are often glued together with either leather or something. And once they touch the water for about 30 minutes, they just fall apart. All right. So, but an old pair of runners would be fine. Yeah. And just please, you do not need to load the children with extra items. If they have everything on the packing list, that would actually do them very well, because it's still heavy for them they're not doing a lot of walking. They're getting off of the bus and they're putting their backpack on and they're walking to the pier, and that's about a 7.5, 8-minute walk. But then they walk up to their dorm, and that's another 5 minute, but it's a little uphill walk. So, we try to train them now that they can actually walk with their packs and things like that. So there's no need to load them on with a lot of unnecessary things. With dietary requirements, we're going to send home a medical form, and it's really important. I know it's really lengthy, and parents are like, can you shorten this? And the answer is not really, because it's so important for us to know all the dietary requirements that the kids have, because we're making every single meal. So if your child has an allergy to certain food, or if, you've got a religious, observation that you need to follow, you just need to let us know. We can get halal and kosher. That's not a problem. The vegetarian, that's not a problem as well. So as long as we know, then we can cater for that diversity. Yeah. And I'll show you the schedule, if Jackie can bring the schedule up. It's actually, because it's such a big group this year, instead of all the kids are going together, and we thought actually in hiring freelance staff, we thought actually it would be better to actually divide that into half. So one group of children are going to go from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and they're coming back on the Wednesday afternoon. And then the other group is actually starting on Wednesday. There's a bit of an overlap. Starting on Wednesday, and then they finish on Friday afternoon. Yeah. So both groups will leave, actually one group will leave the school at 8 o'clock, then at 9 o'clock they arrive at Saigon Sports Ground, they walk to the pier, they gotta get onto the boat, and then they arrive and we do the whole introduction, and they move into the dorms, some ice-breaking activity, lunch. Now, so you can see how the kids, depending on which group they are, they will rotate through every single activity. So, every child's going to get to experience exactly the same thing. But here's where the uniqueness happens. You see that they've got a little group 4, we call the challengers group. So these are the kids who actually have done camp, overnight camp, twice already. They've done it in grade 4, they've done it in grade 5, and some of them might have gone to Wang Yichao, or they were on Chern Chao the year before. So, we're going to actually increase their level of difficulty. So instead of doing the kayaking, for example, they are actually going to be doing a raft building activity. So all that is in the coast steer, they're actually going to be doing a big swim through the island as well. So we really want to cater for the progression for each one of the year levels. And the year 2 who's done it, we're actually going to put them with some of the year 1s, not year 2, sorry, the year 5s with the year 4s, and they're going to be leaders. So we want them to provide that experience of leadership and helping the younger kids as well into the activity. But if you could just roll up a little bit, please. So they've got dinner in the canteen, and then we get to the swap day, and this is, if keep rolling, yeah. So here's where actually the uniqueness happens. So on a Wednesday is the day that one of the groups will a new group will come, and one of the groups will leave in the afternoon. So the kids wake up at 7 o'clock, they have their breakfast, they rotate through their last rotation, they do a picnic lunch, they grab their bags, and they actually are on the boat, and then parents can pick them up at the sports ground at about 2:15. All right, so that's when the first group finishes. But keep going up a little bit, please. Yep, but the other group actually leaves the school, all right, at exactly the same time, at 8 o'clock. They do exactly the same thing, and then we've got staff there to do that one set of activity with them before lunch, all right? So everyone is going to experience exactly the same thing. It's just a matter of when they hit that activity during their rotation. Yeah, and that's about it. And as you can see, there's like there's a reflection. The reflection time is their snack time as well. All right, so that's when we actually hand out all of their snacks. And in the canteen, the breakfast is just mostly a Western breakfast. So it's toast and cereal, banana and eggs, scrambled eggs. Lunch, I'm going to build a lunch menu probably a month before, because Wang Yichao only sends out the menu about 30 days before camp, when all the vegetables and all of this stuff gets bought. So I will send that out to parents as well. So we've got I think 1 day Western, 1 day Chinese, Western Chinese, kind of like that, and the flip meals. But definitely for the kids who need to, we can cater for that. So as long as you identify that on the medical form, then it isn't going to be an issue. Yeah. And I know there are kids who are quite finicky with food, and they're finicky eaters, but really when they're with their friends, I think that they will try a lot of things rather than at home. So I think parents, if you can, I know there in previous years, parents have actually stuffed their kids' bag with snacks because they're so afraid that their kids are not going to eat during the mealtime. But I can guarantee that when they're hungry and they've just come out of the water and they've been playing for 4 hours, and other kids are eating the scrambled eggs, they will eat the scrambled eggs. And so, it's a great chance for them to experience new things as well. And really with snacks, unless you really think they need it. We really think that they actually don't need to bring snacks, because they've got 2 snack breaks during, they've got one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and the granola bars are actually quite, heavy and filling as well. And then they've got the dinner and then all of that as well. And that night we do the little marshmallow roasting, so they've got that. So yeah, and that would be their whole 3 days of camp. Do I have any questions? Yes. Yes.
When you say the pickup time, I
Yeah.
think it was around 2:30, and you're saying the sport ground.
Yes.
In Saikun?
No, actually, they will come back.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
basically, we'll bus them back from Sai Kung to Central Ferry Pier. So the meet point and the pickup point is always Central Ferry Pier 5, and we'll send out the exact timings for that again. These are loosely based around the timings for the camp, but sometimes we have to tweak them to make sure they work well for everybody. So the guys will get back to the Sai Kung sports ground, and we'll have buses from there to get them back to Central Ferry Pier. But we can't get them from here to Sai Kung. It just takes so long on the roads. We always arrange to meet in Central so that we can just get going as quick as we can.
Yeah, so there's going to be a few other tweaks too with the packing list, because as we get closer, I think Bill's going to send everything home as well. So we're going to send the schedule home, the packing list home, and the medical form. So you'll have all of that in black and white and in writing as well. So this is just a general thing. And there's still going to be a few changes as well, depending on weather and we might need to add a few things like a raincoat and things like that. So you'll have the exact packing list very shortly.
For the head torch, they sell them in the market over here. I think there's the first shop on the right when you go in. just on the corner shop. It's one of an electronic shop. I've bought them there before for about $50 or $60, so they're pretty good. It's just having one that's hands-free, so they can just sit on their head, turn it on, and then they can walk around when they're doing the night activity.
Yeah. It's really important that their hands are, I mean, usually when we do the camping, then they really need it because they're holding all of their stuff. But when they're hunting for bugs, like they want both hands free. Yeah,
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 that's it.
yeah,
Yeah, Decathlon would probably sell it as well.
yeah. Any questions? Yes.
So do they do water activities every day?
It depends. So if you could look at the way that it's set up, so this group here will do it. They're wet. You see, so they're wet, and this group will be actually dry in the afternoon. So we make sure that if they are doing it, we've paired it so the kids get the most comfort out of it. So if they're wet, they're wet in the morning and they're dry in the afternoon. The
They do
next
have to-
day,
yeah.
they might be wet again in the morning and then dry in the afternoon.
Okay.
But there are also dry lines right outside of their hostel. So there's like every dormitory has a set of clotheslines. And so we usually get the kids to actually hang their stuff. Now, with that said, it's really important that parents, you talk to them as well, because a lot of them say, oh, I don't want to do it, and they just stuff it in a bag, right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah,
That's what
so, although instructors, I mean, there's only so much that we can enforce. We can say, hey, guys, you just come back from camp, now it's shower time, and there's, like we've, and Bill's really careful about this. We go and turn all the water to warm and not hot, so, all of that's turned, the kids go and shower, and some kids just decide they don't want to shower, and then we come back and, parents say, well, you know what, my kid had sand everywhere and they didn't shower. And I'm like, it's really hard for us. So it's a really great opportunity that I can talk about this now. And I think some of it is just life skills that we can talk to kids and say, you know what, it's really important, even if you just rinse off the sand, because we've got 60 kids. It's hard for the IMS teacher and us to actually go into every room and say, hey, did you shower? Did you shower? So, yeah. So some of it is really, life skill. Yeah. And just say, you just give yourself a quick rinse, and that's okay, because they might be wet again the next day in their clothes. And, we've had kids, and really let the kids try to pack as well. I mean, it's the very sort of first overnight for the grade 4s, but packing is so important. I think one year with the IMS kid, we had a lovely auntie who's packed, helper who's packed everything. And it said day 1, day 2, on all of the Ziploc bags, right? And the kid went and they couldn't find their undies, and they were just in tears and said, my mom forgot to pack them. But then finally when we dug out the bag and we said, oh, day 1, and the undie was in there, the shirt, like everything was so well organized, but the kid wasn't part of this, the child. So he wasn't really learning and benefiting from this. So I would rather, and to tell parents, I would rather you give and start talking to your child about the packing list and say, look, these are some of the things you need. Why don't you get them all together? They can stuff it all in. It doesn't matter. And it's a learning experience for them. And the truth is, if they do forget something, we have extras. Like, we do have extra shoes, we have extra hats, and, we do have sunscreen. But we really want that onus and that responsibility to be given to the child, and parents to be actually talking to the children about that, and because it's really about personal growth as well. And a lot of it, Bill and the IMS teacher would go in, and we do a little bit on personal hygiene and shared space in a dorm, but it doesn't mean that we can enforce everything. So it's really good that, parents, when you go home, to talk about it and say, hey, in the morning, I'm not going to be there, but you need to brush your teeth, and, have that little chat with them, and remind them that needs, and hey, you got to flush the toilet every time you go, and all of it, and it really is a wonderful learning experience. But it's really a wonderful experience when you get to talk to your child when he or she comes back and they're saying, hey, how was camp? They're like, oh, great, what was fun? No, but actually, what did you learn? And why was that interesting for you? Have these conversations so that you can reinforce their learning, and you can reinforce what they've learned and make that meaningful for them and for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And please remind them when the lights go out, that means sleep time. It doesn't mean have a pillow fight or
Yes.
sit up and talk.
Are there hair dryers?
Yes, there is one hair dryer. Yeah, yes. Well, it's one that you can just plug for the girls. Like, so we because I know they've got long hair and often they don't. Yeah, so we've got one that we just kind of put into the rooms, and then they just most of the times, if you look at their shower time, all right, they shower around 5 o'clock. By the time dinner comes, it's actually they're pretty dry, and there is a hand dryer in the bathroom, so a lot of them just kind of put if it's really not dry. But no, there isn't like a particular. Every room does not have a hair dryer. Yeah.
I saw that you have for the co-steering activity
Yeah.
that the kids will need to wear a wetsuit. Do we
Yes.
need to pack
No,
that?
we have it.
All right.
So that's another thing too. We've got little shorties, like, ones if the weather is really hot, so they don't have to be in these big long ones. But we also have, if when the weather is cold, like ones that are full length for the kids as well. So that's, we've prepared all of that, and the helmets and the gloves and all of that. You just need to make sure they have the proper shoes. That's the number one thing, because they cut their feet, and that's, yeah.
I don't know if it was covered earlier, but what type of backpack is needed?
So actually, I brought mine, so actually I'm going to show you. Because they're going to be using it in grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. So it looks small, but actually extends, like mine extends. So they just need, and this year, they don't need to bring a sleeping bag, but should they wish to, they can put a little sleeping bag, here. And I can stuff everything that I use at camp, and I bring my own snorkel, and I bring my own mask, all that I need can actually go into my pack. The most important thing is that it has a waist strap, all right, because they need to actually learn to actually strap that together on their waist, so that they don't feel the weight on their shoulders, and their hips can carry that weight without a problem. And we usually do a little bit, when they get off the bus, we talk a little bit about putting the back on properly, pulling it so that it's actually sitting on your hip, and we do a little bit of all of those introductions for the kids. Yeah, and then the water bottle, I highly recommend like one that is about 1 liter, because parents, you give kids like these dinky little water bottles, right? So they get so hot during the activities, they finish and it's like, oh, I need to refill. So then we've got to take them back to a place where there's filter water, which is about 3 minutes, but then they've got a whole line of them, and so it takes time away from their activities. And we really encourage, like all of our instructors, really encourage the kids to be drinking, because they're going to be hot, and if they're in salt water, it actually leaches water from them, so that they're quite thirsty. So all of that, we get them to drink a lot. So none of these really tiny little water bottles, but I think all of the IMS kids have those are perfect. So that's good.
Do you prefer them to have sun vests, a swimsuit?
Like a rash shirt.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
rash shirt.
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Not actually swimsuits and bikinis and stuff.
Yeah, no bikinis. Yeah. So if yeah, so they've got to run, because the thing is that we start them in grade 1, 2, 3 to do the water safety activities, and so from then on, that's when we really talk about parents about swimsuit. So they can have a swimsuit on, and then if they have a T-shirt, if you don't have a rash shirt, mom and dad don't need to go out and buy one. You can just, a cotton T-shirt is fine, long as it covers their neck and shoulders so that they're not, getting burned. And then, then they're in a life jacket anyways, which keeps them really warm and buoyant. So that's perfectly fine. And if it's really cold, we give them our wetsuits. So we've got loads and loads and loads of them. So, yeah. Actually,
Yeah, if my daughter's short-sighted,
Yeah.
so I would probably give her a prescription goggle lens.
well,
together,
no, you
or-
don't really need to. If she's really serious, because things magnify 10 times under the water, really. So, I mean, and we're not going to go "Ooh," right there, as they'll be on top of the water and they're swimming, and they can kind of see the fish, and they can see the corals, they can see the barnacles. I think actually it's fine at this age, because it's a lot of money to spend to actually get that, unless, she's doing it, professionally. So I think it's fine. Yeah, we'll just get her to take off her glasses. Yeah. yeah, and we leave it at a spot. Some of the kids, actually, we've worked with so many different schools. It's fine, and they just wear a regular, because we have kiddie goggles, which are much more narrow and smaller for them, but it's also a little more magnifying as well to let the kids see. So I think it's fine. Yeah, no need.
We've had a question online just asking, I can bring one over, but do you think the children's backpack there is big enough, or do you think it should be bigger?
I don't think that is big enough because
Okay.
you've got, I think that's just a tad bit too small because they've got 3 days worth of stuff to fit in, and their pajamas and their pairs of, their wet shoes and their towel. Yeah. And parents, the kids don't need a big fluffy towel, like really, like a small little towel is fine. And to tell you the truth, some kids don't even because as soon as they get out of the water, we rinse them. They come out of kayaking, or they come out of the mangrove, and they are up to here in mud from the mangrove, right? So we rinse them off in fresh water. And some of the kids says, "Well, I've already showered." And so they're not going to shower, which is fine, and they don't even need a towel. So no need to actually bring them a big fluffy thing. No, not needed. But they do need a little tiny day pack, actually. So, something really light. I think actually the ones that I like the best are just the ones that are like a bag and they've got 2 strings. Yeah, because they're putting their water bottle in there. Yeah, and the hats they'll be wearing, but the water bottle, because for the mangroves, all of their hands are free. Like they are on all fours catching stuff, and the water bottle gets lost, so we just get them to put them in their bags, and they kind of hang them around their shoulders, and it's very light. It's just their water bottle in there. Yeah, so that would be really, really helpful if you could have a day pack, so that both of their hands, even when we go through the woodlands, they can actually touch trees and climb a little. They're both hands free. Yeah, that's okay too. Yeah.
I know a question which is going to come your way from your children is going to be, who am I sleeping with in my dorm? So I'll answer that now before it comes up. So we obviously want to make it as comfortable as possible. I'm not going to say, right, you can choose everybody you want in your dorm, but what we tend to do is we allow children in each class just to pick a couple of buddies who they feel comfortable with. Obviously, girls are with girls, boys are with boys. We let them pick a couple of friends that they'll be comfortable with. We make a note of that, and then we'll bunch them with some other people, because it's great that they're with some friends they're comfortable with, but this is also, a challenging experience. We want them to make new friends as well. So we do try and mix them with some other children maybe they're not so familiar with as well. So hopefully they come out of this with some new, social connections in school as well. So there'll be at least 1 or 2 people who they know who's a buddy, and then there may be some new faces in there as well.
Yeah. 10.
So 10 beds in each room.
Yeah, 10 beds are in each room. Just to let parents know how important it is for IMS and for Bill, we're trying to get them to has as much contact with everyone as possible. So they're dorming with somebody that they know, and they're meeting new people. Their activity group is different. So, we're trying to put them with someone else that they know, and then, the other groups. And then for lunch and dinner, don't tell the kids this, but we lined them up and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so that they're all in different groups and different times and with different teachers. And every meal we have, there's an instructor, if not 2, and then a teacher on the table with them, at the table with them, and so that they get a chance to have conversation with different people, and they're trying to mingle. And all of this is just life skills that we're trying to provide the opportunity for the kids to have as well. So, they shelter built with the activities, when they'll be doing shelter building, let's say before lunch, the instructor would try to say, hey, so shelter building, what was interesting? What did you learn? And so we're trying to have these kind of conversations and connections. So every meal they're eating it with different people. So that's a secret that that they don't. Yeah, so.
Any other questions?
Yes.
This may be very specific for my daughter,
Yeah.
because she's not a very secured sleeper. And even nowadays, she might just wake up in the middle of the night, and sometimes she just got nightmare. So I saw the picture just now you put on the screen. It's bunk bed,
Yes,
right?
it is, yeah.
Because we used to do bunk bed at our home, but we have to separate them because it happened that she got nightmare. I know it sounds really awful, but she may just wake up in
Yeah.
the middle of the night and burst into cry. And at home she can always come to my room and join me on my bed. But I'm wondering if someone is going to take care
Yes.
of that case,
Yeah.
because it's quite often.
Yeah. So that's a really good question, because with the kids, especially with the younger ones, the grade 4s, they do get homesick on the second night. The IMS teacher that is actually their class teacher actually looks after. They know every person who's in each one of the dorms. So just to let you know the kind of work that goes into this, instructors are assigned to different dorms that we look at, that we actually knock on the door, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, by like lights out, and we're still walking around. But also the IMS teachers are assigned to different dorms, so the kids know who to call. And the teachers are just really like as far as from here's one dorm, twice the distance of that. Like that's where their dorm is. And we always take the kids to, they like to let them know, and they always know where the teachers are staying, where the instructors are staying, that they can call upon. But with this, I like to add how important it is actually for the older kids to be with the younger kids, because actually it's the grade 6 that are incredible at talking to the grade 4s about homesick and saying, the first year I did this, I was like that too, but now I'm not. And once they have that friend, and once you give that opportunity to a grade 6 kid to do this, they feel so mature, and it's so rewarding to see that the younger students are listening to them. So, we really do pair them up that way as well. And if we, know who she is, then chances are we might put somebody in that room who already knows the situation. Say, hey, you know what? If you do this, you can go to, her, and she can talk to you. So, all of that can be arranged and set. Yeah.
And I think that's on the medical form as well. If there's any sort of special, requests or anything you want to just notify us about, which is great, because we'll make a note of it so we have a copy of that, and then whichever dorm they're in, we'll keep a record so we can keep an eye on stuff like that. Any other questions?
Yeah.
I thought I spoke loud enough not to need a microphone, but anyway. There's other schools, what they actually do to kind of calm down parents is they actually post pictures.
Yes.
At the end of like day 1 and day 2. And actually schools have actually realized that helps parents quite a lot, because it's kind of like, my child is alive, they're having fun. I mean, to avoid anyway, no need, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I just... But it's kind of, they realize it actually helps the parent, not the kids. The kids don't care. But it's the parents that actually...
We'll get one group photo and you can count that everybody's there. And then, yeah. I mean, we do take photos and videos, and we do have, a summary video that we send out. I mean, I can't guarantee we're going to take lots of photos and post them up. We might do one group snapshot, and now we do have, our school social media site slowly building up. We may be able to throw something up there now. I don't want to commit and say it's guaranteed, but if you don't hear from us, assume they're still alive and all their body parts are intact. So, but yeah, we do have some videos and we share it with the teachers, and we use these as well for the kids going this year. So I've got a video of upper primary camp last year. I'm sharing with all the upper primary teachers today for them to play in class for all of the, especially for the year 4s to see this is the experience. Some of the year 5s and 6s will get up and say, hey, yeah, this is what we did. This was a lot of fun, and it'll all sort of help to make them a little bit more confident as well with the experience, because especially as a year 4 now, you're going from a 1 day to a 3-day, 2-night. So, we are trying to keep reinforce that and helping it, and hopefully, remind me, I'll try and get a photo. Just text me and say, I haven't seen a photo of my child. Is he still there? Yeah.
Lenses. Yes.
He has 9 lenses, which he cannot put in by himself and cannot take out, because they're very difficult. If he doesn't put them in, he doesn't see much of anything.
Okay. So they're like a contact lens, kind of. Oh, okay. Yeah. So with, yep. You mean at night? They put them on at night. Oh, I see. So if that's the case, maybe you can talk to their teacher about it, because I think if we can identify if it's 2, yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
So does Eric, does he know how to put it in himself? No. So it has to be a teacher. It needs to be supervised by a teacher. Yeah. So could a teacher oversee Eric putting it in? So could Miss Chi watch Eric, like, help and support him to put it in, or do you think do they need some sort of instruction regarding it? We could try generally. Yeah, no. Generally, when we've had any of these incidents before, we've often had the parent talk through with the teacher, with one of the classroom teachers, so the classroom teacher can then support them on the day. So what might be best is if we chat with Miss Chi of how it works and how to put them in. Yeah, I think the best thing is to educate the classroom teacher, and then the classroom teacher can take that to camp. So perhaps we can preload that with the teacher a week or two before, so that they're aware of that and they can help with that. And we've had that with some other instances on camp before. Not necessarily with lenses, but with other medical students have been required to take injection or a certain type of medicine before, and the teachers followed up with that, given from the parents' instructions. The school nurse will not be going. All of the staff from the camper, wilderness, and regular first aid qualified, and all of us will be first aid qualified. So I'm thinking the classroom teacher educate Miss Chi on how the lenses should be put in, and then she can assist with that on the day. Hopefully she'll get that. Yes.
I know if I asked this, I sounded like a paranoid mom, but I do have family member who died of drowning on the sea. So when they do snorkeling, are they going to be tied to each other?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. First of all, I think first they all have a life jacket on, Mom, all right? They're not tied with the rope, but you've got, like, I don't know if you've heard the whole thing. So we have 1 to 6. So one instructor is with 6 students. So it's not that much. And this excludes Bill and some of the IMS teachers that's going to be doing the water activity. So you can almost look for like a 1 to 4 ratio, one adult with 4 students in the water. Yeah. The reef part at the Wang Yi Chao area isn't really that deep. I mean, mind you don't need like a lot of deep water to drown. But the kids before they go on are actually always taught, if there's anything that happens, you roll on your back. But it's almost impossible. I don't know if you've been in a life jacket to actually submerge your head in. Like it's not. You just kind of come back. That's a good question. Yeah, there isn't really much of a current there because actually, if you can see one of the first pictures, or you can actually look at, we're actually in a bay. Yeah, so it's actually quite a big bay, and then the little islands here, and then there's another little area, and then so it's not a huge amount of currents. The one thing that it is in that area that it can be when we do the kayaking is a little bit windy, and for kids who are so light on the kayak, it just, the wind takes them, and then the instructor would have to paddle and then hook their kayak onto the kayak to tow the kids. But yeah, I think honest concern, but I think there's not enough currents there to pull, and there's no undertow, so it's actually really hard as well. So it's not sandy, so it's not like the wave breaks and then you can pull in. It's none of that. It's actually very, very mild currents that are just like this. Yeah.
And we're going to have different abilities in every group as well. So like last year when I went snorkeling, I was at the back with 2 boys who obviously wanted to try and do it, but were very nervous and scared. So, for them, the challenge was pretty much just getting into the water and putting your head underwater, whereas you've got the other ones who are a lot more confident, who were swimming off with one of the other instructors and going out and seeing, some other sea life that they discovered a bit further out. So we do try and stagger ourselves, and we do try and adapt the activity. It's not everybody has to do the same thing. It's more catering for the different levels and ensuring that they've all had a go and challenged themselves, but within a safe and safe
Yeah.
environment, not pushing them to the point where they're uncomfortable, too uncomfortable that they're at risk of, injury or in danger. So we will try and provide that flexibility. And like Wanda was saying, I'll be in the water the whole time. Fraser will be, Kyle will be in. So there'll be a few of us always there to assist and particularly pick up with some of the extra children that need a little bit more support in certain areas.
Yeah, and they're also in a wetsuit. So they're in a life jacket, but they're also in a wet. So they're very, very, very buoyant. Yeah, and there's not a lot of waves in that area. We're in a big bay. Mm. No, that's a great question.
For the ones that read before bed, is it worth taking a book, or do you say they're so busy anyway,
They're
forget about
so
it?
busy and they get so excited. I can tell you that the first night, because in Hong Kong, I don't think it's a very common thing to stay overnight at your friend's place. Although I think for some of the kids here that might be, but in a room with 10 of their buddies, like I can hear them like literally a kilometer down. Ah! And they see a bug and it's ah! So, and the lights go on and off, and the shutters go on and off and on. So no matter how good a reader your child is, they're not going to be able to read. And we really have to go into every single room almost to point and say, please, it's bedtime, it's bedtime, it's bedtime. So yeah, no, it won't work.
Phones, digital technologies.
No, please, no. So it's their one amazing time that they have no access to phones, that they are actually talking to each other, looking at each other eye to eye, playing games physically, and they're connecting with nature and connecting with each other. So no devices and no need for camera, because they just end up losing it and dropping it and in the water.
And like I was saying, we'll take a lot of photos. We'll put them all into a shared folder so the teachers can push them out to you. And, if there is that need where a child is getting homesick, we have the communication trees. We have our phones as teachers. So we can, if we need to, create that opportunity for them to have a quick call home. We hope, and for most people, it's not a worry, but, if there is the case, then we can set that up. But they really don't need anything else.
Again, this is very case specific. So I booked an air ticket to fly away on early Friday morning.
Okay.
So I need early pickup to be arranged on Thursday. So do you want me to bring it up now, or do you want to leave it behind?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like a simple stuff, like a Panadol, this simple stuff, you guys supply, or we need
No.
to have our own?
So yeah, we have it. We have it, and we actually, to let you know that we don't administer any oral medication unless we call you. All right. So we have Panadol. We have antihistamine. All of it. We have each staff carries a pretty big first aid kit, and then we have a big refill one that we take with us. So it has quite a lot, including epi needles, everything that one needs. But if a child is allergic to mosquitoes and or some of the ant bites and things if we put something that's topical on it, then we don't call you, because then it's just a topical cream. But if we're giving them something oral, including an antihistamine, then we actually call the parent and just say, hey, we've got children's Tylenol. Is that okay for us to administer? So, you would definitely get a call from us before we administer anything that's oral. But yes, we have all of it. So there's no need to get the child to bring it. Yeah.
Okay, well, if questions, please feel free to email me at any point between now and camp. We will sort of just keep working on this and tweaking it where the little tweaks need to be made. So we'll probably send it out in a few weeks with the medical form. That's about the most important thing that needs to get done first, because we need to have the medical forms back in before everybody can go to camp. Our goal is to get every upper primary student through camp, because I've been the last 4 years. I think it's a fantastic experience. The biggest thing for some of the children is just getting them to the ferry pier. Once they're on the bus, they'll be perfectly fine. So just get them to the pier and we'll do the rest. I'm sure they'll have a lot of fun and they'll make a ton of memories and hopefully some new friends along the way as well. We'll get this all out. I'll get out a camp medical form. We'll get out tweaked pack with any other things. And then if you do have any concerns or anything you want to flag, such as the nightmares or anything else like that, please add it in, and we can take it all on board and compile that so we're fully aware of anything that may come up while we're at camp. So thank you very much for coming. I hope it's been beneficial, and looking forward to a great camp.